bombastic challah possible for a bris. He's always there when you need him. Unfortunately for him, however, on the day of Eitan's telltale saddle, my mother informed my poor father that he was to be the proud grandfather of twin girls. So flabbergasted was he that he refused to believe her even after learning the truth. Eitan yisroel, I come to you. Okay. On the Erev Shabbos, when I learned that you were to be my son, Hashem introduces himself to Yirmiyahu in the Haftorah by saying, "B'terem etzorecha, b'beten yadaticha, b'terem tetzeh merechem yigdashticha." When I had not yet formed you in the womb, I knew you, and when you had not yet emerged from the womb, I had appointed you. It was then that your father and I began to speak of the topic of your name. We thought about your legacy, and we thought about your great-grandfather, Israel Isaac Freiman, Zichrono Livracha, Shalach L'Olamo, only 3 weeks after our wedding. Eitan yisroel, your great-grandfather was a strong man. He was strong-willed and had a strong spirit. He was an interesting hybrid of personalities, as he was both tough and yet so gentle. He persevered through tremendous hardship, yet remained unwavering in his faith, and steadfast in his religious practice. His devotion to being a regular and punctual worshiper in the house of God was a trait which was ingrained in him until the very end. It also was a trait that often awakened his very disgruntled granddaughter at 5 a.m. so that he could be brought on time to the 7 a.m. minyan. And unfortunately, your great-grandfather was also a product of war. He was haunted by them from September 1939 until the end of the Second Intifada in 2004. At nights I would hear him drag a chair across the floor in order to prop it against the door so that he could hear out intruders in the night. His strong beaming voice with which he used to bellow Smirot was always quieted when he prayed in front of the Mishurs, and he would never say Kiddush in front of her. It was the only time I saw him cower. Legend has it that a Nazi soldier once demanded that he identify himself. "My name is Yisroel," he replied with as much courage as he could muster. "There is no Yisroel," said the soldier, and my grandfather was renamed Isaac for the rest of his days. Eitan yisroel, by God there is an Israel, and she is bountiful and beautiful and wholesome and doused in the Shekhinah of Hashem. She is a land built upon the joy and unfortunately bloodshed of her people. She flourishes on the devotion of her inhabitants. Eitan, she is strong, but she also must defend herself. Despite the biblical ordinance that one must not be sent to war within the first year of their marriage, your father was called up for reserve work nearly 2 weeks after our wedding. My grandfather spent his life toiling to defend the identity of the nation of Israel, as he should have been called, but was put to rest in the earth of Israel and was buried by a grandson, the Bigdei Tzahal, a concept surely unfathomable to a man whose uniform 70 years ago was the infamous blue and white striped Bigdei Terror of the Platzau concentration camp. Despite the strength and pride with which your great-grandfather Isaac Yisroel fought to protect the sanctity of Hashem's name and his mitzvot, he remained until the end of his days a product of a dark time, when he could not wear his name proudly and was continually haunted by demons of the past. Eitan yisroel, for you, we decided that your name must embody the qualities of 2 names, the legacy of your great-grandfather's original name, Yisrael, preceded by the word Eitan, meaning strength. You should be named after a man who fought for God, his nation, for his people, for the future of his homeland, and for the family in his time, but you should do so proudly.